Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. We're diving into fun ways to learn English today.
Sounds exciting.
We'll be looking at this source called How to Practice English Without Feeling Bored.
I like that title already. Learning English should be fun.
That's exactly what we're going to explore.
Awesome.
It can be tough, especially for beginners, but we'll uncover ways to make it feel less like studying.
And more like exploring something you love.
Yes. Our source offers some really great advice.
Like what?
Well, it all starts with finding ways to practice that you actually enjoy.
Makes sense. It's like, think about things you're already passionate about.
Right. Your hobbies, your interests.
And then see how you can bring English into those activities.
I love that. So it doesn't feel like a chore.
Exactly. You're learning naturally without even realizing it.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Let's say you love watching movies.
Oh, I do.
You can start by watching them with English subtitles.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You'll hear the words and see them written out at the same time.
So you start connecting the sounds and the spellings.
Right. And as you get more comfortable,
You can try watching without subtitles.
see how much you can understand.
That's a great way to challenge yourself.
And you can even talk about the movie with friends.
Or join online communities.
Yeah, discussing it helps you remember what you've learned.
And it exposes you to different ways people use the language.
It's like having a conversation with the movie.
I love that analogy.
Okay.
Okay, so movies are a great way to learn.
Absolutely. But let's move on to another one. Books.
Ah, yes, books. They open up so many different worlds.
And they can really help you expand your vocabulary.
But sometimes books can be intimidating, especially for beginners.
I understand that feeling. But remember, you don't have to start with Shakespeare.
Yeah, that might be a bit much.
Right. Start with something you enjoy.
Something that feels easy and fun.
Exactly. Like comics, magazines, even blogs.
There are so many options out there.
Just choose something that sparks your interest.
And dive in.
Yes. And don't forget, reading doesn't have to be a solitary activity.
Well, that's a good point. You can join book clubs.
Or discuss what you're reading with friends.
That's a great way to make it more interactive.
And speaking of interactive, have you explored language learning apps?
Oh, those are game changers.
They really are. They make learning feel like a game.
I've tried a few, and I love how motivating they are.
It's so rewarding to see your progress.
Exactly. And some of them even have features for speaking and listening practice.
That's crucial for beginners.
So they offer a well-rounded approach.
And they're so easy to use. You can fit them into your daily routine.
Okay, so we've got movies, books, apps.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
What else?
How about something we all love? Music.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say that. I love listening to music.
It's a fantastic way to learn English.
Really? Tell me more.
Listening to English songs exposes you to different accents and rhythms.
And new vocabulary.
Right. And you don't just have to passively listen.
What do you mean?
You can sing along, even if you don't know all the words.
That's a fun way to practice pronunciation.
It helps you get a feel for the natural flow of the language.
It's like having a karaoke session while learning.
Exactly. And you can look up the lyrics while you listen.
To understand the meaning better.
Right. You can even try writing your own lyrics or translating your favorite songs into English.
Wow, those are great ideas. So many ways to use music.
It's all about being creative and making the language your own.
That's inspiring. Now, I'm curious about podcasts.
Podcasts. Another fantastic resource for learning.
What makes them so great?
Well, you can listen to them anytime, anywhere.
On your commute, while cooking, even taking a walk.
And there are podcasts on literally every topic imaginable.
You're bound to find something that interests you.
Exactly. You can choose podcasts specifically for English learners.
Or ones made for native speakers.
Depending on your level and confidence.
For beginners, I think starting with podcasts that have clear and simple language is best.
Yes. And maybe even transcripts available so you can follow along.
Yeah. Some podcasts even have quizzes or exercises, right?
That's right. It's like having a personal tutor right in your pocket.
Podcasts offer such a great way to immerse yourself in the language.
And learn at your own pace.
It's amazing how many options there are.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about connecting with others.
Oh, I think that's so important for language learning.
Absolutely. Language is all about communication.
So actually using it with others is key.
And there are so many ways to do that.
Like what?
Well, have you ever considered joining a language exchange group?
I've heard of them.
It's where you connect with someone who wants to learn your native language.
And you help each other practice.
Exactly. There are websites and apps specifically for this.
Like Tandem or HelloTalk.
You can find a partner who matches your interests and goals.
That's a great way to make learning more social.
And you get to share your culture while learning about theirs.
It's a win-win situation.
And it's not just limited to online platforms.
Oh, right. You can also look for language meetups or conversation groups.
In your local community.
That's a great idea. It's a chance to practice speaking in a relaxed environment.
And maybe even make some new friends.
I remember when I first started learning English, I was so nervous to speak.
But joining a conversation group really helped.
It's amazing how much more comfortable you become when you're surrounded by others.
Who are going through the same journey.
Exactly. And it's not just about speaking practice.
It's also about improving your listening comprehension.
And learning new vocabulary from native speakers.
Right. You're experiencing the language in a real-world context.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground already.
From movies and books to apps and language exchanges.
It's clear that there are so many fun and engaging ways to learn English.
Especially for beginners.
I'm feeling really inspired.
Me too. There's so much to explore.
And so much to learn.
So many great ways to learn right. We've talked about movies, books, apps, podcasts, even language exchange groups.
It's amazing how many options there are. And the best part is, you can really make it your own.
Yeah. Find what works best for you.
What you enjoy the most.
Exactly. It should feel natural and fun.
And speaking of fun, I think it's time to tap into our creative side.
Ooh, I like where you're going with this.
How can we use creativity to learn English? I'm really curious.
Well, think about things like blogging, journaling, even making videos.
Those sound like fun activities.
They are, and they're great ways to practice writing and speaking in English.
I've always wanted to start a blog,
You should.
but I've been a bit hesitant.
Why is that?
I'm not a native English speaker, so I worry about making mistakes.
That's totally understandable.
But maybe I should just go for it.
I think you should. The beauty of blogging is you can write about anything you're passionate about.
Like what?
Travel, food, music, your personal experiences, anything.
That's true. I do love to travel.
There you go.
Yeah.
See? And the more you write, the more comfortable you'll become.
It's like practicing any skill, right?
Exactly. Like working out a muscle. The
Yeah.
more you use it, the stronger it gets.
And it's okay to make mistakes along the way.
Of course. Everyone makes mistakes. It's part of the process.
That makes me feel better.
So, are you thinking about giving blogging a try?
I think I am. What about journaling? Is that helpful for language learning too?
Definitely. It's a great way to practice writing in a more personal way.
More reflective?
Exactly. You can write about your thoughts, your feelings, your goals.
Or just recap your day in English?
That's a good one. It helps you process what you've learned.
And since it's just for me, there's no pressure to be perfect.
Exactly. It's a safe space to experiment with the language.
I like that. A private conversation with myself in English.
Now, how about something a bit more challenging? Making videos.
Ooh, that sounds a bit intimidating.
I get it, but it can be incredibly fun and effective.
For practicing speaking.
Yes, you can create vlogs, tutorials, anything, really.
But what if I'm too shy to share my videos?
You don't have to show them publicly. You can just record them for yourself.
As a way to practice and track my progress.
Exactly. And if you do decide to share, there are supportive online communities.
So I wouldn't be alone.
Not at all. There are lots of people learning English out there.
Okay, I think I can start with some private videos.
That's a great first step.
Yeah.
It's all about finding what works for you.
And speaking of trying new things, you mentioned something earlier that really caught my attention.
What was that?
Role-playing games.
Ah, yes. RPGs. I knew you'd be interested.
It sounds like so much fun, but I've never played one before.
It's easier than you think. You create a character and go on adventures.
With other players.
Yes, and you interact with each other in character using English.
So I'd be speaking English the whole time.
Pretty much. You're describing your actions, making decisions, telling stories.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing way to practice.
It is. And because you're in character, it can help you feel more confident.
Less self-conscious.
Exactly. You can really let loose and experiment with the language.
It's like learning through play.
That's a perfect way to put it. And there are tons of free online platforms and communities.
Where I can find other players.
Yes. So you can jump right in.
I'm definitely going to look into that. RPGs for language learning. Who knew?
It's a hidden gem.
Well, I'm feeling super inspired to try all these creative activities.
Me too. It's amazing how many ways there are to learn English and have fun at the same time.
But I think it's time to shift gears a bit.
Okay, what do you have in mind?
Let's talk about immersing ourselves in English-speaking culture.
Ah, yes. That's a crucial part of the journey.
It's about more than just learning the language.
It's about understanding the culture behind it.
The values, the perspectives, the way of life.
Exactly. And you can do this even if you don't live in an English-speaking country.
Really? How?
One way is through media.
Like movies and TV shows.
Yes, but also news articles, radio, YouTube videos.
So many options.
It's about surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible.
And as you get more comfortable, you can challenge yourself with more complex materials.
Right. It's like building a muscle. Start with lighter weights and gradually increase.
That's a good analogy.
Thank
I
you.
like that.
Now, let's talk about another fun way to immerse yourself. Food.
Oh, I love food.
Me too. And trying new recipes from English-speaking countries is a delicious way to learn.
That's a great idea. I've always wanted to try making a traditional English breakfast.
That's a classic. And there are so many others to explore. American pancakes, Australian meat pies, Indian curries.
My mouth is watering just thinking about it.
It's a feast for the senses and a language lesson all in one.
I love that. And what about art and literature?
They offer incredible insights into different cultures.
It's like peeking into the soul of a culture.
Exactly. You can visit museums, browse online galleries, read novels, poems, all sorts of things.
It's about connecting with the language on a deeper level.
And appreciating its beauty and complexity.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Now, for one final piece of the puzzle, social media.
Social media. For language learning.
You might be surprised. It can be a powerful tool.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
You can follow English-speaking influencers who share your interests.
Oh, that's smart. So I'm learning while scrolling through my feed,
Exactly. You'll be exposed to authentic, everyday language.
including slang and idioms,
Yes. And you'll get a glimpse into their lives and perspectives.
making it more personal and engaging.
Exactly. Social media brings the English-speaking world to your fingertips.
Well, I have to say, I'm feeling incredibly inspired by all these ideas.
Me too. It's amazing how much we can learn when we open ourselves up to new experiences.
And have fun along the way. We're back. It's been so much fun exploring all these different ways to learn English.
I know, right? We've covered a lot of ground.
But before we wrap up completely, there's one thing I want to circle back to.
What's that?
Role-playing games. You mentioned them earlier, and I'm still really intrigued.
Ah, yes. RPGs. A fantastic way to learn English.
I can see why you're so enthusiastic about them.
Imagine this. Creating a character. Stepping into a whole new world.
A world of fantasy and adventure.
Interacting with other players, all in English.
It sounds like a dream come true for anyone who loves fantasy.
It is. And it's more than just having fun.
Tell me more.
RPGs require you to think quickly, make decisions, describe what you're doing.
And all of this is happening in English.
Exactly. You're practicing so many language skills without even realizing it.
Because you're so engrossed in the game.
Right. You're using vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, even body language.
To bring your character to life.
It's a full-on language immersion experience.
And I bet it encourages creativity and imagination.
Absolutely. RPGs provide a safe space to experiment with the language.
You can try out different accents, practice different speaking styles.
And make mistakes without fear of judgment.
That's so important for beginners,
It's like a playground for language learning.
where you can let loose and have fun.
Exactly. And the best part is, you don't need any special equipment.
Or experience to get started.
There are free online platforms and communities where you can find other players.
So if you're looking for a fun, engaging, and creative way to learn English,
I highly recommend giving RPGs a try.
you might discover hidden talents or passions you never knew you had.
Well said. Now, as we wrap up our deep dive today,
What's the key takeaway?
learning English is a journey, not a destination.
It's about embracing the process, the ups and downs,
The challenges and the triumphs.
finding what works for you, what keeps you motivated.
What sparks your passion for learning?
We've explored so many amazing ways to learn,
From traditional methods like reading books
to more unconventional approaches like playing RPGs.
and everything in between.
The most important thing is to find what resonates with you.
What makes you excited to learn and grow?
And remember, even small, consistent efforts can make a big difference over time.
So set aside some time each day to practice, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Be patient with yourself and enjoy the journey.
We believe in you.
And we're so excited for you to discover the joy of learning English.
Until next time,
Keep exploring, keep learning.
and keep having fun.
Bye, everyone.